everybody, it's Rebecca here at Raids, and it has been too long since I have done a book review or a video review. I mean, technically I did the Year of Gaming one, but not really. So one of my goals this year, if you watched my 1 year anniversary goals video, I talked about how I wanted to do more video reviews on this channel, and so I'm going to start it out right in January with my very first ever, not first ever review, but the first one in a long time, probably since like May, I think. So the first book is, of course, The Walled City by Graudin. And this book is basically about 3 teenagers in a kind of alternate China in a situation, and all 3 of them live inside the walled city, hence the title, and they're all trying to escape from that walled city. That's the basic premise of the book. Each one has a lot of secrets, and each character kind of brings something to the table and has a different reason for wanting to escape or kind of reason for staying in the walled city, because it's not like they can't just leave. Like, the walled city is, there's a gate. You can leave the walled city, but they all kind of have a reason for staying, but trying to escape at the same time. So it's quite a conundrum that these characters are in. So speaking of characters, there are 3 main characters in this book. The first one is Jin, and Jin is a girl who dresses up and pretends to be a boy, which helps her survive. She's one of the fastest runners, and she uses her speed and her kind of dexterity to stay alive. But she's searching for her sister, which is why she's still there. The second character is Mei Yi, and Mei Yi is Jin's sister. Mei Yi is a prostitute who lives in a brothel, and she was taken at a really young age, and so she can't leave. The brothel you see in the beginning, there's a girl who tries to escape, and really nasty things happen to people who try to escape. And so she can't leave, but she really wants to. And finally, the third character is Day, and he's got a lot of secrets. He's got the most secrets out of anybody, and you don't know his secrets going into it, whereas Jin and Mei Yi, you know about them going in. You know that Jin is a girl dressed as a boy, but Day's got some secrets. He's got the most secrets, but he's the one that could really bring it all together or tear everything apart. I'm gonna put the book down now. So some things that I liked. These are my likes. I loved the setting. I didn't just like it, I loved it. I loved the setting. The walled city is basically a labyrinth of crime and evil and prostitution, but also people just trying to make their lives every day and just happen to be in this city because the rents are cheap and whatnot. It's dirty, it's grungy, you can't see the sun because there are so many apartments and the buildings are stacked so high that you really can't. It's like crammed in there. It's something like 6.5 acres wide, like that's how big it is, and there's something like 33,000 people who live there. It's insane, and the great thing about the walled city actually is it's based on a very real place in China that was demolished in the late 80s called the Kowloon, I think is how you pronounce it, the Kowloon walled city, and it's a place where it kind of fell through the cracks between different governments, and so it ended up being a lawless zone, and this was based on that area. Now, it's not specifically that one. The names of things, it's not Hong Kong, but it is Hong Kong, and I thought the setting was really cool and a really great place to tell this kind of story. I also really liked all the characters. They all felt very unique and different. They all had specific motivations that led them. I wasn't at any time saying like, well, that's out of character. Like, all of them, they fit. They were individuals. I liked it. They were good. I rooted for them. I wanted them to succeed, and I mean, they were just really well thought out characters. And there's 2 female characters who were unique and strong in different ways, and I thought that was really interesting as well. The plot. I didn't know where it was going the first half of the book, and for as someone who reads as much as I do, and many of you do, we're able to predict plots a lot more often, or even if you watch a lot of TV shows and movies, you kind of predict plots. I had no idea where this was going halfway through. I was like, I have no clue what's happening here, and that's something to be said for that. So The middle of it dragged a little bit, but the last 100 pages literally flew by. I was speed reading them because I wanted to know what was going to happen next. It is a standalone YA without a love triangle. I mean, that doesn't happen often in YA. It just doesn't. I wish it did happen more often, but it doesn't. Most YA kind of action adventure type stories end up being trilogies or at least duologies. This is a standalone. It ends at this book. There is no sequel or prequel, anything like that. It's by itself. There is a slight romance, but it's not overdone. It's not like heavy-handed. It's not there just for the sake of being there. It's there for the plot, and it doesn't feel like I was forced into that romance. There's not a love triangle, although there very easily could have been, but there isn't. And I thought that was so great to not have to read about a love triangle or people falling in love and blah 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 blah. And my other like is the cat. There's a cat. I love cats. I love cats so much. And there's a cat. It's CHMA, so it's supposed to be like the sound of a cat sneezing, which is adorable. It's like chma, chma. Ugh. This cat stole the show from me. I mean, I love cats anyway, but this one is fantastic, and my heart felt for this cat, and I was like, where's the cat? Where's the cat? I mean, I do that anyway, but anyway, this cat. I loved this cat, and it really did. It made it for me. This cat made it for me. Some things that I didn't like, or some things that were kind of issues with the book, one of which is the writing style. It didn't bother me, but I was buddy reading this with Kayla Rain, and she pointed out that the writing is very choppy and it uses a lot of repeated words. And I can totally, once she pointed that out, I was like, I can totally see this. And if that's something that you notice, it might kind of draw you out of the story a little bit. It didn't bother me just because it just didn't bother me, but I can see how it would bother some people. Also, she is very heavy-handed with the metaphors at times, and it's like, really, come on, we don't need 6 metaphors on 1 page. However, I tend to like metaphors, so these didn't really bother me as much, but it could be something that might bother you. I also did think parts of the plot were too convenient. Some of the things that happened, it was like, really? Like, that just happened to be that one thing? You know, it's a little bit too much like that. And also, you could say that part of Mei Yi's storyline and her motivations seem a little forced at times, or a little awkward, because she works in a brothel and has this hatred of men, yet this handsome boy shows up and all of a sudden she's like in love, head over heels, like wants to do everything she can. That just seemed, you know, it's a little out of character in a way, but so be it. It moved the story along, I guess. And I also would have liked to see more time spent on some of these bigger issues. I understand that it's YA, so you can't really go into too much depth about things like human trafficking and dehumanization, which are some of the big themes and messages in this, but I would have liked to see a little bit more of that, especially in the end. It's briefly mentioned, but I wish that more of it kind of could, maybe there was more drama at the end, or more getting over it kind of thing, rather than just, oh, life is dandy now. You know, I felt like it should have had maybe longer lasting effects than it did. But again, it's YA, so we're not trying to like get too heavy on that. And that being said, the fact that it's YA and it did deal with some of these issues is kind of, it's a great thing and it's a good thing, but it can also be a little dark for some of the younger readers of YA. I did give this book 4.5 stars, and that extra half star is actually for Chma, the cat, because again, I love cats, and that cat is the best cat ever. Some books that are similar to the Walled City, I actually did kind of have struggles thinking of some of these, but I'm gonna go with the Legend series by Marie Lu, because the main character, we have 2 characters named Day, which, hey, why not, right? They also kind of have an Asian influence, although the Legend series does take place in America. The character of Day is a Mongolian descent, and he's got an interesting kind of look and characterization about him. I also am saying this one because it is about someone who lives on the streets, much like Jin and Day. Both of them live on the streets, and Day in the Legend series also lives on the streets and is kind of a criminal, but is revered for it. So it's more dystopian, but it's got similar kind of themes about it, and I thought that'd be a good parallel. Ryan Graudin has also written Wolf by Wolf, which is one of her newer releases. I have not read it yet, so I can't really say anything about the story or the plot because I don't know, but it is the same author, so if you do like the writing style, then this would be another good one to kind of jump between. And finally, I'm gonna recommend or kind of compare it to the Maze Runner. Jin is a runner and Thomas is a runner. They're also both trying to escape somewhere that they can't by running and going through this kind of labyrinth maze area while trying to survive at the same time, and kind of things are blocking them. So again, that one's a little bit more dystopian, but it still kind of fits with some of those issues. Well, those are my thoughts on The Walled City by Ryan Graudin. I hope you have enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought about the review style, the review itself, the book, if you've read it, if you want to read it, to many books that you would recommend also based on this book, and all that stuff. Just let's chat in the comments. Let's have a grand old discussion down there. Anyway, and that is it for me today. I'll see you next time.